RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, what's up? It's looking dark in this house. Damn, let me put the light on a little more. My name is Tara Devlin. Thanks for hanging out. This is Unapologetic Liberal Talk. I forgot to put the producer in his place. All right, we'll see how it goes. We meet here usually Friday evenings. We have our regularly scheduled Friday show. Oh shit, he's moving. And but I won't be able to do a show because I'm going to the Hornin on tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow, and then I'm coming back Sunday night. All right, so we're doing a show. This will be the show that's going to go on Progressive Voices. So if you're listening to Progressive Voices on Sunday, this show was recorded on June 1st, Wednesday. Okay, guys, I don't even know where to begin. Right before we went on air, as I was prepping the show, there's another mass shooting. So what do you say, really, under these circumstances in this country? Really, how much longer? I know I usually maybe end the show with that. How much longer are we going to take it? But I really got to ask, how much longer? It's an embarrassment. And it's a needless embarrassment. I don't want to hear any more thoughts and prayers, frankly. Does anybody? If thoughts and prayers, if I had $1 for every goddamn thoughts and prayer, we might have some children who aren't dead. Yeah, 4 dead in Tulsa, including the shooter. Thank you, Bob, on the chat. But, it doesn't seem to merit, frankly. It's only 4, right? That's just 4 people, 4 more. Add them to the pile of corpses. Now, what's wrong with this country? The fact is, I don't even know where to begin. That's why let me just start off by saying thank you all for your support. Thanks for hanging out. If you're on any other platform, come on over to youtube.com/C4channel/Tarabuster. That's where we have our chat room. That's the chat room I will be interacting with the most. So, I only got 2 eyes. I can't look all over the place. So, and our chat room's filling up, and I want to thank you, Richard, for your super chat already, right out of the gate, and hopefully more people will join. So, and they will. That's what usually happens. So that's why I ask you guys to, if you can, you want to hang out. We really have a great chat room and a lot of awesome people who, really it's therapy. It's our group therapy for the resistance. So if you can hit the like and the notification bell, subscribe to the channel so when the channel goes live, you will be informed and you can come and hang out and join the chat room and join the conversation. Because the thing is, this is independent liberal media. We don't have big billionaire benefactors. We just have each other. That's why the super chats go, they mean a lot and they go directly into the show. And the patronage at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And yeah, that's how you support the show. And also tell your friends. All right? Yes, Lavender on the chat. Not another. Right. It's like we've had more mass shootings in America than days of the year, of course, but this is nothing new. This happens all the time. And I'm just, that's why I named the show tonight, Everything, the GOP death cult blames everything but the guns. The whole, and this is Tarabuster. That's why we do go all over the place sometimes. But One of the things I do, because and this is why your patronage means a lot, because I don't know, I read the conservative Reddit stream, so you don't have to. And trust me, it does age me. I'm only 22. Look at me. I'm only kidding. No. I tell that joke a lot. So I went on the conservative Reddit page, and it's sort of, it really is a cesspool. And I do study chimpanzees like Jane Goodall studied apes. So it's part of my job. And you can certainly write write a lot of papers on these people. But the fact is, we don't have the corner market on morons. But the country is, I guess, you know what it is? It is the Rupert Murdoch poison seeping into their already low effort thinking, low IQs. I mean, and this is not me just flinging out pejoratives. These are scientific facts. Conservatism is the scientific studies show us that conservatism is a product of low effort thinking, where of course, the conservatives are fear-based. We know that. And there have been brain studies that reveal larger amygdalas. When people have larger amygdalas, they tend to lean conservative, because conservatism and the amygdala is the fear center in the brain. Now, that's why they can't stand us. They can't stand humanity whenever humanity evolves, because they're living with a primitive brain, and it's we don't need that kind of brain anymore. We need you to shut the F up and go into your permanent minority state, because you're not meant to be in a majority. Conservatives, not if we want to have a decent world, where we do things like, I don't know, go to the moon, where we don't just, murder each other? I mean, what kind of shithole do they seriously want this country to be? But here's the thing. This is why, if conservatives are not made legally and peacefully a permanent minority, this country's doomed. It is doomed. Forget the grand experiment. It's over. And I'm tired. I'm really tired. I'm tired of asking. I'm really tired of asking how much longer are we going to take it? Because it seems like we're going to take it as long as the Rupert Murdoch poison spreads from sea to shining sea. That's how long we're going to take it. Because on that pustule, that filthy fascist pustule oozing out all over, infecting the body politic, that's what on that foundation, all of this madness is built on the the sickness of one greedy sociopath and his enablers, followers, and hangers on. Clearly, that's part of the human condition. You don't. All the scums of the earth, the worst people on earth, never have a problem finding willing co-conspirators, as history shows us. But as I was saying with these conservatives, that's why they hate normal people. They hate wokeness, quote unquote. They hate evolution. They hate the human condition evolving and becoming, a more perfect union, that kind of thing, because they are, they're left behind by evolution, left behind by modernity, by science, by humanity, by decency. They're left behind. They weren't built for this world. They were built for the Dark Ages. And that's why they want to drag us back to those Dark Ages. And it's also why the world is looking at us askance. Because they don't, like I said, we don't have a, every country has assholes. Every country has morons and idiots and conservatives. Same thing, I know. But you don't give them power to this degree to destroy, because they are a minority party that represents a minority of people, and they receive a minority of votes, yet they still have power. This is where we've gone wrong. And you don't build a country on the worst aspects of the human condition and expect it to succeed. Hold on. All right, this is Tara Devlin. And what do you right? I'm going to have to pay attention to the cues tonight, because this is the Progressive Voices show. And I also have, I got to get up early tomorrow to take this airplane thingy, this thing that goes flying and through the air. And I'm going to be in where am I going? I'm going to West Virginia. Can you believe it? Me. I hope I get out of there alive. That's all I have to say. Well, if Robin can live there. Jesus Christ, help us. Right? I don't know how she does it. So, all right, I was looking at like I was saying, I was watching the conservative Reddit feed because I study the Trumpanzees. And here's what because I wanted to see. I often want to go and I take their temperature, to see what are these freaks jerking off to tonight. And it's the conservative Reddit feed. It's not the guns, it's the culture. Okay, and there's an illustration of some overweight person, I guess, with a phone in his hand, drinking McDonald's with a Pornhub T-shirt, because that's what people do, right? They wear Pornhub T-shirts, and he's got a lot of pills behind him. Frankly, guys, I don't know. This looks like a conservative to me. Honestly, who would it? I mean, look, come on. That doesn't look like a liberal. Is that what they're saying? So this is what I mean. Everything but the guns. Oh, it's somebody's jerking off to porn and drinking a McDonald's drink. I haven't eaten McDonald's in years. Last time I ate McDonald's, I haven't eaten meat in years, but last time I ate McDonald's, even before I stopped eating meat, that shit'll kill you. I literally got sick when I ate it, because it's disgusting, but on every level, really. But anyway, these guns. So it has this depiction of somebody who's supposed to, I guess, I don't know, someone who's complaining about guns, and he's overweight, drinking a McDonald's drink, and has pills behind him, wearing a Pornhub shirt, saying these guns are killing our children. That's the excuse. Oh, right. So that's, of course, why we will not have any action, any sensible anything, until we put this cult, this illegitimate death cult, this minority freaking representing, vote-getting, ideology espousing death cult until we make them a permanent minority, legally and peacefully. Am I wrong? That looks like a conservative to me. Conservatives, do you own a mirror? I want to know. Because it is the red states who are dropping dead left and right with this opioid epidemic, right? It's the red states who open their fat mouths No, not trying to fat shame them, whatever. But they just shove as many corpses, as many greasy corpses into their mouths without thinking. It's sort of like that's another one of their freedoms, not to have any consideration, just to shove shit in your mouth until it fills up that giant empty soul. And also, studies have shown us, you want to know who's looking at porn? It's the freaking red states. All these repressed, not that, I mean, people look at porn, I know, but it's the red states that consume it like they're sucking on, Trump's teat. And they're also jerking off to rather, not your everyday run-of-the-mill type porn. They want to see, they're very sick people. They're repressed. I mean, it all comes down to repression, self-loathing. But that's the truth. Also, there are a bunch of closet cases. I mean, so, but let me ask, everybody knows that the entire world has these things. They have McDonald's, they have drugs, they have porn, and they don't break out in mass shootings every day. It's not even, you could set your goddamn clock by it. And let's look at some of these comments. If I can open it. Oh, you know what? Did I get banned? I wonder. Oh no, here it is. I clicked the wrong thing. Here's the first comment. The major cultural change since school shootings became a thing is the internet. It connects people with like minds. When someone is immature, lacking offline social skills, and angry about emotional suffering from bullies, it's pretty dangerous for them to connect and encourage each other in revenge fantasies. Well, bitch, like I posted below this person, they have the internet in every goddamn other country. FYI. I don't know. They have the internet everywhere. Except, one thing they don't have is easy access to assault weapons. And I want to ask again, what part of well-regulated and well-regulated militia don't these fuckers understand? Well-regulated. Everybody who talks about this this blood-soaked sickness that we have, they talk about everything but this well-regulated. Even the Democrats don't talk about well-regulated. I don't get it. What part of well-regulated is that so hard to say? Well-regulated militia. An 18-year-old with an assault rifle is not a well-regulated militia. And we have the right and the duty, goddammit, to regulate this. And so, God help us all. Thank you, Mark C., on this for your super chat. Nice to see you, Mark. Supporting the truth is a patriot's duty. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Mark. God. Yes, Mark. Canada is the closest to us culturally, and they don't have this problem. Maybe because they have rational gun laws, and they're getting even more rational. As we saw here in the United States, our neighbor here in the United States, nothing is happening. The Republicans are blaming everything but the guns, and in Canada, they're taking lessons from their neighbors to the south, us, and passing stronger gun regulation. Here, let me see. Talking about guns in this fucked up country. It's really embarrassing, but the fact is, it's not just the Rupert Murdoch pus. It's the money in politics. So that's what the circle jerk of greed and corruption continues. And I mean, everything's unfolding since since this latest shooting, and first, the reason I'm hesitating is because I'm like, no, it's not the latest. We just had another shooting tonight. I was talking about the elementary school shooting, which was such a bunch of the three vile words that should never go together. And but the whole world is looking at this madness. And I want to explain, because we do have international listeners, that the reason this is happening here in this fucked up country, and the reason the country's fucked up is because of, like Jacinda Ahern, I can never pronounce her name correctly, said they don't have Rupert Murdoch plus media in New Zealand. That's why they're able to have sensible and sane policies regarding COVID, regarding mass. They only had to have one mass shooting to eliminate assault weapons, and but we have the Rupert Murdoch pus, and we also have money in politics, and because of that, and we also we have a lot of scumbags seeking government office because of those things. And it's the greed that attracts the scummy people. And then those scummy people, like Beer Bong Brett and Amy Resting Bitch Face Barrett, the handmaid, and the dishonorable monsters who colluded with Moscow Mitch McConnell to corrupt the Supreme Court and other courts and in lower courts. Those people, who are attracted to government because they want to destroy it from the inside, then and because of money in politics, they're not in it for altruism. Then they get in there and they do their dirty work, making the country suck behind the veneer of legitimacy. They'll and this is what's happening with the Supreme Court, and soon by the end of the summer. Now I'm wondering though, because they're deciding on a case about gun control, right? And according to scholars or people who are watching the court, given the kinds of questions and the kinds of comments the illegitimate Supreme Court flunkies are posing during these arguments, they're kind of saying, just like they know that they knew that they were going to send women to die in back alleys again and not do anything about the abortion rate, but in fact increase the abortion rate and also increase the numbers of dead women by overturning Roe v. Wade. But they're just how they knew that, they also suspect that the illegitimate Supreme Court is going to just kind of make it a fucking free-for-all with state laws regarding gun control. See, in New York, it's harder to walk around. You can't walk around in Walmart with an M16 or whatever, AK, whatever the fuck. And but obviously in these fucked up shitholes that Mitch McConnell rules over, him and his Chinese spy wife, it's a substitute for actual freedom. They can't go to a doctor when they're sick, or they can't go to a dentist. They can't ever retire. They can't make living wages or have that middle class life that was once the birthright of their grandparents. But they can walk around and feel like a big man with their their AK shitholes, their AK, penis extenders or whatever. And that's the problem. The problem is money in politics, which attracts the worst people, and those worst people make it worse. It's fruit from the poison tree. How can you have a good country? A great country. That's what Trump says, make America great. How can you, again, right? Excuse me. You can't have a great country if you don't even have good people, right? Good people legislating. It's impossible. These people, we do have our work cut out for us, and I don't understand. Now, I don't have children, but frankly, if I were a lot younger and I wanted to have kids or whatever, I would get the fuck out of here. I don't know how people endure sending their children to school and every single day hoping they come home alive. Who will it be? Do you want to take those odds? Oh, well, we're a big country, so, it's not you tonight. But you want to take those odds with your loved ones? Now, the Republicans, like I said, everything but the guns. It's the doors. Also, of course, since this abhorrent event, since the elementary school shooting, the latest, the filthy police have lied to us, right? Every story that's come out of their mouths is a lie. And the latest, which really pissed me off, they attacked the school teacher. They said they attacked a teacher. They didn't name this person, but they said, because Ted Cruz and the Republicans are all like, oh, the doors. We need one door going in, one door here. Well, I think I have a video. But the doors, they want one door going in and one door going out with armed guards. And so let's have a fire trap. Let's turn our schools into fire traps / armed camps. So all over the world, kids can go to school. They don't need to. They can actually have schools with doors open in the whole fucking world. But here we gotta. Why don't you build a moat? Put some goddamn alligators in it. Well, all kinds of. Why don't you build some traps like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom? And then arm the teachers, too, because not only do they have to pay for their own school supplies, they gotta take tactical training. Because they gotta do the job that the police don't want to do. Because they're too cowardly. But it's just like the party of personal responsibility to take zero responsibility for everything, for the death. And I don't know, you probably saw Greg Abbott was like, I'm livid because when it came out that the police were lying, and they continue to lie, frankly, and not just frankly, factually, they continue to lie. Every story out of their mouths is a lie. And now apparently they're not cooperating with the federal probe. So, because you got nothing to hide, right? So every story is a lie. And it's the doors, and Greg Abbott is livid. He's not livid. This is what happened. Because he says he's livid because he gave false information regarding the police response. He did what every Republican does. They don't have to wait. They don't have to wait for the truth. Their job is to spread lies and propaganda. So in this situation, which is very tedious for them, they're just holding their breath and biding their time until it all blows over. You know, and they can go back to fucking off to Cancun in peace. But their job, the Republican job, is to praise the police no matter what, no matter the truth. So they went right into Republican mode, which, I mean, never stops. Praise the police and deflect from the guns, regardless of the truth. Right. And thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Nice to see you, Jim. And thank you, Matt M, for your super chat. And Matt says, it's not the doors, it's the guns. Exactly. We all know that. And you know what? They know that. These freaks, the Republicans, know that. But, you know, I don't understand it, though. I just don't get it. I don't understand how disgusting a person can be to you know, excuse the death of children. So they want to, it's not just kids, though. The kids just kind of hit you, you know, it makes it worse, even though I don't know how it could be worse. So they want to turn schools into an armed camp. But what about every other place? So you better turn schools into an armed camp, the supermarket into an armed camp, concert venues into an armed camp, right? Parks, places of work, places of business. Every place will be an armed camp. Now, how can you have a functioning society like that? This is like a dream come true for Republicans. They cannot afford to promote the general welfare. They can't afford to have the American people considering each other as fellow Americans or compatriots. They can't afford to allow the American people to put e pluribus unum into action, to consider each other. When they talk about all lives matter, I wish. Don't you wish? All lives matter? All lives matter? My ass. If all lives matter, you would stop. You would stop. You know what I mean? They would stop with this bullshit. They know it's bullshit. Everybody, even the fucking idiots on the conservative Reddit page know it's bullshit. I mean, I have to know. Don't you think they have to know? Look at the world. The entire world. This only happens here in the United States. And, you know, that's the thing. It's like they want... This is the kind of country they want, where we all walk around mistrusting each other to the point where we all got to be wearing body armor. What kind of fucking country is that? But I tell you, it's not a free country. Not in any sense of the word. You're not free if you can't go to a supermarket without fear of getting mowed down. You're not free if you can't go to a concert, if you can't go to school. It's beyond vile. But they never stop. They never stop. They never shut up. And they have entirely too much power, right-wingers. And you know what? The Democrats give them too much power. Stop pining for these fucking monsters to join us where? They don't want to join us in civilization. They don't. They're incapable of it. They're, in fact, trying to drag us back to the Dark Ages, worse than the Dark Ages. I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in the fucking Walking Dead world. Is that where we live? We're in the Walking Dead? That's what they think in their minds. I don't understand why Joe Biden doesn't go out there and instead of saying, I feel your pain, it's like a black pit, you feel like you're being sucked into it. Yeah, that's how it fucking feels as an American. It never stops. Why doesn't Joe Biden get out there and say, what part of well-regulated militia don't you fuckers understand? Do you blood-soaked scumbags not understand? That's what we need. We don't need somebody to go out there and say how they're coming up with common sense gun reform. My ass. Common sense gun reform would remove assault weapons from the hands of any American. There is no effing reason why a civilian needs an assault weapon. And it's not about rising up against the government, you stupid morons. Because here's the other thing. Okay, not you guys, of course. You guys are normal. I'm talking about the right-wingers who passing through and want to call me a dyke. Yeah, guilty as charged. Whatever. Who cares, right? Thank you, Robin M., for your super chat. 2005 SCOTUS ruled police are not obligated to protect any individual. Did you know that? I didn't know that. There is no such thing as a protect and serve. Yeah, it's a nice slogan, though. Sort of like hope and change, I guess. But here's... Let's see. This is from ABC News. Guns in the U.S. versus the rest of the world. It's been over a week since an 18-year-old gunman barricaded himself in a classroom at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, shooting and killing 19 children and 2 teachers. The tragic incident shook the nation, the same nation that 10 years ago was shaken by the deadliest elementary school shooting in U.S. history at Sandy Hook in Newton, Connecticut, where 20 children and 6 adults were killed. Just this year alone, the U.S. has now seen more than 200 incidences of what the Gun Violence Archive considers a mass shooting, when 4 or more people are shot or killed, excluding the attacker, in one incident. 17 of them took place after the Uvalde massacre. In the past few years, Americans have seen some of the worst gun violence in history. Gun Violence Archive data shows in 2020, 43,670 deaths were from gun violence, with 19,514 of those deaths marked as a homicide. Unintentional or defensive gun use, while 24,156 were suicides. Well, death by despair. That's also off the chart here, in the red states too, right? Out of this total, 610 were mass shootings and 21 were mass murder deaths. Okay. According to the 2021 National Firearms Survey, more than 81.4 million Americans own guns. And there are estimated to be more than 400 million guns in the U.S. Jesus Christ. It's fucked up country. E pluribus unum. The trends in mass events sparked much debate in Washington. Blah, 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 blah. Biden and Harris are calling for bans on assault rifles and high-capacity magazines. Yeah, that's a good start. That's common sense gun reform. and just say, you know what? Here's a poster that you can print. You want to jerk off to an assault weapon? Join the well-regulated militia. Sign up right here. Here you go. Here's the recruitment form. Right? Join the well-regulated militia. It's called the National Guard. And, oh God, I can't even, my mind is all over the place. Furthering the dispute is the argument over what constitutes an assault weapon. Who cares? Whatever. Okay, I just want to get to the part where... Here we go. In addition, the debate over gun reform is reigniting a national push to look at other nations with stricter gun laws, especially restrictions put into place swiftly after mass shooting events. Just Tuesday, Biden welcomed New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern to the White House, mainly to discuss Indo-Pacific relations and economic security, but also to learn more about conversations at Ardern. I'm sorry, there's something about that name that sticks in my mouth. Had following the 2019 mass shooting at the mosque at Christchurch, resulting in 50 deaths. Within days, Ardern banned the sale of assault weapons. Parliament later voted to bar the circulation and use of most semi-automatic firearms, parts that convert firearms into semi-automatic firearms, and magazines. Jesus Christ. Well, that's what happens when you promote the general welfare over the welfare of some scumbag who is such a coward. You know, how, you see, this is the thing. Why are we pandering to the worst aspects of the human condition? That's what that is. That's what an amosexual is. That's what somebody who can't go to a goddamn supermarket without an AK-47, whatever the fuck, without an assault weapon. That's what that is. Why would you build a society around these sicknesses in the human soul? Right? That's what. If you have a problem, and you cannot leave your home without completely putting on your body armor and getting all your guns and packing whatever the fuck, you have a problem. But why are we making it our problem, society's problem? And if you're that much of a dumbass to think that the Second Amendment is there so you can overthrow the government, you're a goddamn lost cause right-winger. The founders did not fight a revolution to overthrow a monarchy, an intergenerational aristocracy that they had no say in the matter, to create a constitutionally limited democratic republic where you vote. It's called a democratic republic because we vote for the representatives, and then that's the republic, right? But that's your mechanism for doing something about a government you don't like. If you want to change the government, the mechanism is not violence. It's called an election. That's what the founders did. And in fact, if that was the case, the right, I don't know, whatever, off the top of my head, the Second Amendment, the text of the Second Amendment would say that. It would say the right for citizen, let me get the goddamn stupid thing up. I'm so sick of it. We should all know it by heart. We're so inflicted by it. Second. Here we go. See, it's apparently the only amendment. It's sort of like Jesus. Jesus's only holy obligation is gay bashing, which is really something he never said. And the Second Amendment is somehow translated into you too can, I don't know, look like an asshole? Where is it? Hold on. Why does the internet hate me? Second. Where is it? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And what's the well-regulated militia part doing in there? If they meant for people to just, run around with assault weapons. A well-regulated militia. Well, it's like right there in the front. Being necessary for the security of a free state. A free state. Why wouldn't they say free nation, free country? Freedom from tyranny. Freedom from a tyrannical government. Right? Because it has nothing to do with that. You don't like the government, knock on doors. I know you can't do that, Republicans, because you're infants and you need your big daddy to save you from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place in this nation of immigrants that you hate. You hate the very essence of America. That's why you think you need to walk around with an assault weapon to protect yourself. What are you protecting yourself from, by the way? Universal health care? Living wages? Retirement security? Is that it? That's the tyranny of the general welfare? Oh, you don't like it. The general welfare means that you have to share, e pluribus unum with people who might have darker pigment. I know that's a goddamn... That's outrageous to you. You cannot handle it. That's why you voted for a fascist con man whose first speech as the scum-sucking Republican wannabe so-called president included the bashing, the same old fascist tactics of vilifying minority groups du jour. Right? The vilified groups, Scums. A well-regulated militia. But I don't understand why Joe Biden and the rest of the Democrats don't come out and say that. That's why the American people, there are a lot of people who actually think that the Second Amendment is to overthrow the government that you don't like. Well, I don't like the Supreme Court. I don't like the illegitimate Supreme Court. I don't like that a con man can receive fewer votes and become the so-called president. I don't like it. What do you do? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to rise up and storm the Capitol? This is where we're here because of Republican greed and avarice and self-seeking, self-serving stupidity. They have, the soullessness. They hate this country. They hate America. They hate democracy. If you love your country, this is what you do to it? And if you love this country, would you let's say the Second Amendment is let's pretend is to overthrow the fucking government, right? But you love this country, right? That you took an oath to protect and defend it, the Constitution, and Yet, all of there were more mass shootings in the country than days of the year. Wouldn't you do everything in your power to amend that Constitution? Right? There's something fundamentally wrong. This is not the fucking 10 Commandments that come on down high for these freaks to ignore, as they do, and shove it into everybody else's face when they're trying to justify their own bigotries and hatred. The Constitution of the United States, the founders put in mechanisms to amend it. They understood that things would evolve, that the country would evolve. Well, not conservatives, of course. They never evolve. That's the problem. They can't keep up, you see. This is their problem. You understand? That's why they want to drag us back, because they can't keep up. It is psychological. It's Psych 101, man. They're so afraid of being left behind. That's why that book, the Left Behind series, became such a hit with them, because that's their fear. They know that they're being left behind, and they can't keep up. They don't want to. Because that might require them to work a little bit, work on themselves. They might require them to not be complete dullards, to be intellectually curious, to not be a bunch of bigots, basically. Not to be stupid. And they can't muster that. That's too much work. That's too much patriotism. Jesus Christ. Where was I? Okay. Within days, yes. So, Jacinda Ardern says, it did happen to us, and sure, it may not have been a frequent occurrence, but it happened. Ardern said from the White House, and in an aftermath of that, the New Zealand public had an expectation that if we knew what the problem was, we would do something about it. Now, well, that's why, you see, they know what the problem is. Republicans know. That's why they're blaming everything but the guns. They know it's the guns. It is because they hate America, and they love greed and themselves, and how much they're so close to destroying it. That's the thing. And I made this point on, I think, the last show. If you are sick and you go to the doctor and the doctor says you have a terminal illness that is killing you slowly, and I have the answer, right? I knew the answer, but tells you that, you know what, your problem is you're too woke, and you're all about Black Lives Matter, and you're liberal. It's you got a liberal teacher, and you know what, you got a door. There's some door. You're going into the wrong door. Would that doctor be held responsible? Would that be considered malpractice? Or would that, what is that? Would that be considered evil? I would think so. These people are fucking evil. They are. Mitch McConnell is evil. Did you see? Holy God. Did you see Mitch McConnell praying? I'm going to play this. I didn't get a chance to grab it. But what is this? Don Winslow Films. They make some pretty good videos. Let's see, where is it? And just be prepared if you're listening to this on the headphones. There are loud gunshots in this video.
We share a tiny part of the burden in our own hearts.
What
and
heart?
that we will lift the victims and their families and the entire community
damn it.
in
Hold
prayer.
on.
My colleagues from Florida will carry home the prayers of the whole Senate for victims and their families, for the community of Parkland, and for the first responders who bravely charge into harm's way on behalf of others. The Senate and all Americans stand in mourning, sorrow, and sympathy with the students, faculty, staff, and families of Santa Fe High School in Texas. We pray fervently that in the midst of this nightmare of grief, our Heavenly Father will make manifest to those families His promise in Psalm 34, that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Don't believe a fucking word that Mitch McConnell says. Not a fucking word.
How do they have the gall? You know, where do they get that from? I guess it comes from knowing you're rich. You know, you got a lot of money, and you can sit up, and you got a lot of power. And future generations are going to look at you, and they're going to be like, there goes the gravedigger of American democracy. Not just the gravedigger. It's not just digging American democracy's grave. He's digging the graves of children and supermarket goers and, people want to go to a concert. We pray? Or, what do you... I pray. Oh, and the other thing is, where was the other one? There was another video. One of these... What are those comedian people? I can't remember their names. Oh, my God. Fuck you, Lauren Boebert. I'm just going on Twitter. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. They went to the... I'll get the name of them. It's like a comedy troupe. I can't remember the guys' names. And they went to the NRA convention. And they took the microphone in support. And they really, they talked about thoughts and prayers. Let's see. That's all they have. Thoughts and prayers. Come on, man. Hold on, guys. Let me see. I'll take you on my journey with me. I'm trying to find it. Let me see. Oh, this is another question I wanted to ask, actually. I posted it to Twitter. Sometimes I'll tweet something out, or it doesn't seem to be working at this point right now, because I'll tweet something and to respond to something on Twitter to use it on the show later. And now I can't find it. Anyway. Let me see. Oh, here it is. I found it. Let's watch.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
The Good Liars. That's the comedy
The chair
troupe.
recognizes the gentleman at microphone 1A.
Thank you. My name is Jason Selvig, and I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida. And I would like to say that I am sick and tired of the left-wing media, and frankly, people in this room today spreading misinformation about Wayne LaPierre. Whenever there's a mass shooting, they all say that Wayne LaPierre isn't doing enough to stop these mass shootings, and even implying that Wayne LaPierre has played a part in making it easier for these shooters to get guns, to get weapons. You heard it after Las Vegas. You heard it after Pulse nightclub in Orlando. You heard it after Columbine. You heard it after Parkland. You heard it after Virginia Tech. You heard it after Sandy Hook. You heard it after El Paso. You heard it after Buffalo. You kept hearing that Wayne LaPierre isn't doing enough. And frankly, that's not true. The NRA, under Wayne LaPierre's leadership, has provided thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families. And maybe these mass shootings would stop happening if we all thought a little bit more and we prayed a little bit more. So I'm asking everyone in this room to think, to pray.
These people's faces.
Give your thoughts and your prayers and your thoughts and your prayers and your prayers and your thoughts. And if we give enough of these thoughts and these prayers, these mass shootings will stop. So I want to thank you, Wayne LaPierre, for all your thoughts and all your prayers. Thank you.
And they applaud. They applaud. Which shows you, as what I wrote, is that NRA, the people, are absolutely useless. All right, this is Tara Devlin. I'm back. So we just played the Good Liars clip from the NRA, where he brilliantly, one of the comedians from the Good Liars, brilliantly, stuck it to the NRA about their thoughts and prayers. And then what really got me at the end was that the audience applauds. Basically, and what I wrote, another reminder how absolutely useless and craven these blood-soaked, gun-loving monsters truly are. Thoughts and prayers. And another thing, actually, this is another thing this will come up eventually. Here's a question. And I posted this on Twitter and God knows, I will miss Twitter when Elon Musk, if and when Elon Musk turns it into 4chan. I'm going to get the fuck out of there. And I won't be alone. I hope that everybody just bounces from there, if that's the case. And especially the large, corporations, every corporate entity, every head of state has a Twitter account. We can't allow Elon Musk to destroy it. But anyway, okay, if that happens, hopefully we'll all make a plan to meet. We'll meet somewhere else that doesn't allow lies, because this is what Republicans want. They are actually in court. Actually, this is a distraction. Hold on, Facebook. Actually, they were in Facebook. Wait, not in Facebook. They were in court trying to rule that Facebook cannot censor content. Let's see, cannot censor. Because, yeah, that's what it is. I can't even believe, isn't that, well, they try to position themselves as the champions of free speech. That's what it is. Right. I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared to talk about this, but we'll get to it in a minute. But the Supreme Court, let's see. The Supreme Court, this is from the Times. Supreme Court blocks Texas law regulating social media platforms. The law, prompted by conservative complaints about censorship, prohibits big tech companies like Facebook and Twitter from removing posts based on the views they express. So you could get on there and say, Jews will not replace us, right? Because that's what Republicans want. More hate, more lies, more fucking division under the guise of free speech. It's not free speech. It's hate speech. And just like freedom isn't free, and, with great freedom or great power becomes great responsibility, as Spider-Man said, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There's a limit. But Republicans really are the enemies of the people. They don't, and that's why I say we're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, because they don't like any of those things. They don't want them. They are too human. Those are human traits to be admired and to be cultivated. They would rather cultivate degradation, inhumanity, stupidity, lies, and what to what end, right? What end? For greed. It really is about greed. The greed of the few, and they don't give a shit if they turn this country into a smoldering ash where everyone's at each other's throats and nobody can go out to the supermarket. You got to send a robot in body armor to pick up your supplies to come home to your armed camp, because they will have freedom. All of these things, the society that they create for the rest of us, we have to live in the consequences. They live in a whole other world where the laws and the consequences of conservatism don't touch them. So I just saw that. I saw that yesterday, and I was like, of course. They love free speech. That's why they love Elon Musk, right? He's one of them, an overgrown, filthy fascist liar. And you got to tell, he's saying, I used to vote Democrat, which right there is the tell. He never voted Democratic. No Democrat says, I vote Democrat. You fucking moron. I used to vote Democrat. Now I'm a Republican because, Democrats are they're woke. Yeah, because who needs that? Who needs wokeness? Who needs decency and dignity? Who needs to be human to other people? It's the same. It's just the updated version of PC. Who needs to pull a hair to call somebody what they want to be called? That's just too much. That's too much e pluribus unum. That's too much promoting the general welfare, That's too much patriotism. But I thought, here's a question. So as far as the Republicans are concerned, everyone can walk around with an assault weapon, right? That's your freedom. It's in the Constitution. Supposedly. It's not, we went into that. But your freedom is that you can walk around with an assault weapon, as many as you want, even though, that's a sickness. We have limits on things, you know what I mean? We're allowed to put limits, right, on things. Not for Republicans and guns, because I guess really there's no limit to their cowardice and their stupidity and their hate. I guess that's bottomless. So why can't you have enough guns to fill up that bottomless pit? Sick. They're sick. You realize that? They are sick. Okay, well, anyway, here's the question. Would the GOP be cool with their Lord and Savior Elon Musk turning his rocket into a personal nuclear weapon? Right? for home defense? Or would that be the time they finally get that a well-regulated militia means owning an assault weapon is not a right? Now, I know, does that sound like a stupid question? It would never happen? Bullshit. We have this fucking Elon Musk is on track to become the world's first trillionaire, which is a disgusting and vile proposition. There should be no billionaires, much less trillionaires, Because this country is sick, and this government is sick by extension. And, it's a circle jerk of sickness. But the fact is, I guess throughout history, people are nothing. But the whole point of the liberal age of enlightenment and the revolution was to, change that dynamic, that we could rule ourselves, that we didn't need a big daddy sitting up in the castle, trickling on us and using our lives as pawns, as playthings. So, but Elon Musk, he's going to be the world's first trillionaire. He's got this space fucking X bullshit, and he wants to jerk off in space. He wants to jerk off on Twitter, and what would stop him from turning a rocket? Well, it's hypothetical. I don't think he's working on this, but it's just to prove a point. When will it end? Is it his right to own a nuclear weapon? It's the only thing stopping him is him. He could own one, right? You could buy it on the open market, on the black market, right? You buy the ingredients. Yeah, I'm sure you can buy scientists who will fit your rocket with a nuclear weapon, and then we'll all have to be on watch and hope that something doesn't trigger him. Maybe somebody's too woke and they post a picture, that ugly picture of him he hates, and he wants to take the whole fucking world out with him. But this is the point is, where does it stop? And I have to say, I can see the future. If you don't think, it's like right out of a movie. If you don't think that this is something that will happen to future generations, if we don't stop this, then you haven't seen, half the science fiction movies, right? On Netflix. It's always about like some fucker, some mad somebody. So where does it stop? Do these? I know Elon Musk is their Lord and Savior, but should he be able to get a submarine? Should he be able to? How about build his own army? Right, his own private army. Is that allowed? He's got the right to defend himself. Home defense. But maybe if you're a trillionaire, what does that look like? Are you maybe get an like a whole a bunch of fighter jets, an aircraft carrier? Why not? Where does it stop? I don't know. I wonder. Exactly. Dr. Elon in his secret lair, Jim on the chat says. It's true. Right. And Richard W. says, NASA worries about expanding mankind's knowledge, and Elon worries about expanding his billions. And that's what it's about. And because he wants us to, like all scumbags throughout history, want us all as his plaything. And that in itself speaks to the fact that we shouldn't have billionaires. Or much less trillionaires, right? Because, it's because of that. We're human beings, the point of the liberal age of enlightenment, the point of our founding documents, even though they were written by hypocrites, exactly. But is to elevate the human condition so we can share this blip of time together in the best possible circumstances for everybody, for the most part. And that speaks to our humanity. And when we focus on our humanity rather than filleting Dr. Evil, Elon, as Lavender on the chat says, Elon, Dr. Evil Muskrat. Exactly. That's what he looks like, right? But when we come together and promote the general welfare, we can do incredible things. It's about what are we focused on, and what's the Republicans focused on? This is the other thing that speaks volumes. Really, it's that they are focused on ensuring that everybody can get an assault weapon if they want it, but not that everybody can get health care if they fucking need it, not even want it, if they goddamn need it. Everybody can get a gun, though. Oh, you can get a gun. You can't get education. And, what is it going to take to finally have a paradigm shift of consciousness, frankly? What's going to take? What will the next disaster be? Because it's coming. And the Republicans are basically guaranteeing it. Wait a second. I don't know. It is coming. I believe that in the future, future generations, if we don't do something about this, if we don't regulate guns, that's what they're going to have to they will deal with that shit. There will be a Dr. Evil. Because the reason those movies are popular, and that's a popular storyline, is because it's in the realm of human possibilities. There really are only 7 stories, as they say, but the stories that speak to us are because we know them to be true. Anyway, perhaps I don't know. You gotta wonder, right? Because the Republicans, on the other hand, they always talk about the slippery slope, right? And if there's gay marriage, for example, then next thing we're gonna marry our pets or goats, right? Or if everybody can get health care in America, there will be death panels, shit like that. They never have to pay the consequences or pay the price for their lies. No one ever goes back and says, hey, what do you mean? Remember when you went on about how everybody's going to marry their pets? I don't see anybody marrying their pets. Right? But here we have, here's a scenario that is actually in the realm of possibilities. If you continue to cultivate selfishness as the only American value, selfishness and greed, and you continue to spread access and not only just access, but to spread this notion that an assault weapon is somehow your American birthright, it's part of your freedom, then where does it go? Why not a tank? Right? Why not a jet fighter? Why not a drone with nuclear weapons? And if you think that wouldn't happen, I don't know. It's very embarrassing, frankly, to be an American at this time. Maybe it's always been embarrassing. It's actually heartbreaking to watch when I mean, the country was never perfect. No country is. And as we know, racism is the root of all our evil, but selfishness too. But it all comes down to it. Comes down to separating people and promoting greed. Selfishness and greed. I don't know. I really do wish that the Democrats, especially Joe Biden, would start talking about it. In fact, even it really does grate on me beyond everything else that grates on me. Whenever I hear Joe Biden, every time, I mean, you'll notice it. Whenever he talks and, whatever, he gives a speech, he's got to mention that he's gotten together with both Democrats and Republicans. Or this is a bipartisan, we're getting a bipartisan group together. When do you ever, show me, please. Show me a comparable, show me that on the right wing side. They never boast that they're working with Democrats. They've turned Democrats into the enemy. And that's on purpose. They did that deliberately, so much so that we have freaks. The freaks who are being armed are running around the country trying to kill Democrats using the same language that Tucker Carlson uses. The same shit that comes out of the poisonous lie hole of their standard bearer was written on the gun, on the assault weapon that murdered people at the top supermarket. The same lies, the same racist, divisive lies that come out of the filthy lie hole of Tucker Carlson were written right on this assault weapon that this fucking moron, this piece of dirt that was inspired by Tucker Carlson and the rest of the NRA and all of the Republicans. And I mean, they're all in cahoots. Oh my God. Yeah. And then here's from Reuters. Canada introduces law to freeze handgun sales and ban look-alike toys. This happened days after. But what did America do? Generous donors shipped in a bunch of tiny coffins and personalized them. I mean, nice. That's a very nice notion, but give me a break. My name is Tara Devlin. Guys, thank you for hanging out. This is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin, because we stick together, we win, and we will win. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll see you soon. All right, I'm back. We're back. God, I mean, wasn't that so heartbreaking? They made tiny coffins, and each coffin was personalized with things that each child loved. Like one was baseball themed. I mean, what the fuck? What do you think will happen, in 2,000 years when they open up those graves, when archaeologists come into this smoldering ruin that once was America, and they dig those graves up and they study them? What do they say? Will they know? Will they remember that these were needless, senseless deaths? In Britain, it took just one school shooting to pass major gun control. This is from NPR. Nowadays, let's see. As Americans continue to reel from the mass shooting in Uvalde, which, of course, there was another one tonight, Texas, Uvalde, Texas, that left 19 students and 2 teachers dead, headlines and commentators repeat the common refrain. The U.S. is the only country where this happens. Nowadays, that might be true, but 26 years ago, it happened in Scotland. In March 1996, a gunman entered Dunblane Primary School, killing 16 students, a teacher, and injuring 15 others. To this day, that is the deadliest mass shooting in UK history. But that's where the similarities end. In the aftermath of the shooting, parents in Dunblane were able to mobilize with the kind of effectiveness that has eluded American gun control activists. By the following year, Parliament had banned private ownership of most handguns, as well as semi-automatic weapons, and required mandatory registration for shotgun owners. There have been no school shootings in the UK since then. The comparisons between the U.S. and Britain now should make shocking reading to anyone in America, says Mick North, whose 5-year-old daughter, Sophie, was killed at Dunblane. He's one of the founding members of the group Gun Control Network, which advocated for new laws in the aftermath of the shooting. Over the past years, England, Scotland, and Wales combined have seen around 30 gun deaths a year. By comparison, according to the CDC, the numbers of murders involving firearms in the United States in 2020, wait for it, was 19,384. In comparison to, 37 a year? In combination of England, Scotland, and Wales. Even setting aside the difference in the size of the country, this is a horrendous difference, says North. At the time of the Dunblane shooting, he and other activists did face difficulties making their schools safer, including skepticism from members of the royal family. In an interview with the BBC, Prince Philip compared the banning of guns to the banning of cricket bats. Oh, God. Saying that both had the potential for danger if misused. Oh, God. You tedious, all of these tedious excuses. It's an argument that's similar to those made by the gun lobby in the United States. The criticism of others that these people might choose some other means of causing harm doesn't really acknowledge how very dangerous guns are compared to other weapons. It's too easy for somebody to pick up something like a gun and cause havoc within seconds, and certainly within minutes. The strong heritage of gun ownership in the United States and the constitutional right to bear arms is an obstacle that the British gun control activists like North didn't have to wrestle with in the aftermath of the Dunblane shooting. But I have to interject. The constitutional right to join a well-regulated fucking militia. The constitutional right to bear arms is not an unlimited right. And at the time, the well-regulated militia was the National Guard at a time when the United States really didn't even have a standing army worth anything. In fact, we know that the fact that we have a standing army only passed by 1 vote. So people when you had to be called up with your National Guard, you needed to bring your musket with you. That's what they were talking about. The right for the people to keep and bear arms, so when you're called into active duty service in your well-regulated militia. Fuck. Of course, we know it's all about racism, too. Keeping a free state, meaning not letting anybody who didn't want you to own human property to send in their National Guard and free them or whatever. And yet he sees other countries with similar histories which have successfully passed strict gun control measures. Yes, the whole culture around guns is different in the U.S., but there are other countries in the world where there's a frontier mentality, shall we say Canada, Australia, who have adopted tighter gun control laws. So I think America should perhaps be comparing itself not necessarily with Britain alone, but with a whole range of countries who have unfortunately experienced mass shootings, but only a small number of them. Ugh. But we get these fuckers. It's the Doors, right? It's wokeness. Jesus Christ. Oh, you know how sick this country is? I don't know. Did I show you this? I might have. Oh, I think I might have shown this in the last show. The maker of the gun manufacturer who made the weapon of death that killed a bunch of children and will continue to kill, posted an ad on their Twitter account. What the fuck is it? And it was a child holding an assault weapon with a Bible quote. Here it is. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And this child is holding an assault weapon with some waste of human DNA pointing at it, like saying, there you go, there's the trigger. That's where you put the magazine in, and when you're ready to kill, that's the trigger where you pull it, and you turn other children like you into mincemeat. In fact, they couldn't even identify the children. You know that they had to be identified through DNA. One of when the police, when they were getting the 911 calls over the police radio, here's a quote that was part of the conversation of the police radio. We've got a 6-year-old female with a gunshot wound to the right side of her face and jaw. Congratulations, Republicans. You built that. We've got a 6-year-old female with a gunshot wound to the right side of her face and jaw. Isn't that disgusting? Absolutely disgusting. Jesus Christ. We've got a 6-year-old female with a gunshot wound to the right side of her face and jaw. Well, do you feel free, guys? I don't know. How free does she feel free, I wonder? We should thank her for her service, if she's still alive. I don't know. I don't know how a 6-year-old can survive with a gunshot wound to the right side of her face and jaw. And what kind of life you will lead if you survive that. But this is what we're willing to do to children. the PTSD alone. But we don't have health care. This is the other thing that the Republicans keep talking about, how it's mental health. You know, it's not, it's the doors, it's mental health, but we don't have mental health care. In fact, in Greg Abbott cut mental health care. You know, the cynicism. Right? Let's see, where is it? Greg Abbott attributes mass shootings to mental health issues a month after cutting $200 million from the Mental Health Commission. Well, ain't it? Isn't it predictable? But he's livid. He's livid. They lied to him. He was livid. They lied to him, but you know he's not livid. He's livid that the truth caught up to him. That's the problem. That's what happens with Republican lies. The truth always catches up to them. This time it caught up really quickly, and there was no squirming out of it. Because if there was any chance of them squirming out of their praise of the police and whatever else, they would take it. Because that's all they do. They get up and they have their press conferences to distract and to praise the police. Except when the police are standing in the way of an insurrection, that's another thing. Then those police they're too woke and they're part of the corrupt FBI. Everything that doesn't go their way is corrupt and woke. Yeah, so this is another thing that pissed me off. I'll show you. Hold on. This fucker.
Provide the parents.
Here's what's this guy's name? Well, he's the chief of police. Yes, Stephen McCraw, director of the Texas Department of Public Safety. And he, of course, promised that here we go. Okay, all those other statements were lies, and, we got caught in those lies. But here's the honest to God, good and upstanding truth.
Community of Uvalde, the public, as much information as we can on where we are on the investigation.
Yeah.
We're here to report the facts as we know them now.
Here we go.
Not to defend what was done or to criticize what was done.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Or the actions taken. I'll begin first and foremost with the timeline.
With a lie.
As we know it.
Here we go.
The second timeline I'll discuss is the 911 timeline.
Oh, sure.
Then we'll talk about the relevant social or digital media footprint.
Okay, sure.
Then we'll also have plenty of time for questions at that point.
Okay. Questions and lies, I mean. All right, we're waiting for the lies.
11:27. We know from video evidence, 11:27, the exterior door suspected of what when we knew the shooter entered, Ramos, was propped open by a teacher.
Bullshit.
11:28.
The
suspect vehicle crashes into the ditch, as previously described. The teacher runs to the room 132 to retrieve a phone, and that same teacher walks back to the exit door, and door remains propped open. There were two males.
Not true.
As reported by Regional Director Escalon yesterday, there were two males at a funeral home that when they heard the crash, they went to the crash scene. When they arrived at the crash scene, before they got there, they saw a man with a gun exit the passenger side with a backpack, and they immediately began running. Ramos began shooting at him. Did not hit him.
Oh, yeah. Sure, he's a good Republican, obviously. Party of personal responsibility. That's absolutely not true. This is what pisses me off. Of course, they hate teachers, Thoughts and prayers and all. They hate teachers because they're in a union. That's the problem. And they don't like public schools because public schools make the little babies they pretend to give a shit about, they make them a little too uppity. They might want to read something that has something to do with critical race theory, which means that, I don't know, it says anything about race. Or they might read a book that has the word gay in it, and then they become woke or gay. Not necessarily in that order. But here we go again. Texas officials say the teacher did not leave a door propped open before the massacre. It's everybody's fault but their own. It's not the guns. It's not the money in politics. It's not the greed. It's not the defunding of mental health care or any other kind of care. It's the fucking teacher. It's always the teacher. But the teachers, put their lives on the line every goddamn day. In this sick, sick country. This country is only sick because we have entirely too many right-wingers in positions of power. That's the bottom line. And that's what Joe Biden should be saying. Not like, let's come together with Democrats and Republicans. What are you coming together? In fact, here, where the fuck is it? God. Where the hell is it? They're gonna put together a commission, another commission, and I think Mitt Romney's on it, and he's one of the biggest. Well, I think he's the number one recipient of NRA blood money. But let's see. Everything but. Why I'm looking for this article. Excuses. I mean, that's why, guys, the party of personal responsibility. That's why. Yeah, we should, if Republicans are calling themselves the party of personal responsibility, they take no responsibility for anything. And I love, isn't it funny? Well, not funny, but, funny, sad, how they're so outraged when you hear Ted Cruz and, what's that guy's name? Everyone. When you hear them, Kevin McCarthy, they're so animated with their lies, and they're so animated with their faux rage against doors. Here's from Fox News.
One of the things that everyone agreed is don't have all of these unlocked back doors. Have one door into and out of the school.
If this school was on lockdown, could the doors have been locked where he couldn't have gotten in? There are billions of dollars sitting out there after COVID for schools that we should redirect that money to allow the schools to use that to have one central point of interest to protect these kids.
To protect these kids. Yeah, you really want to protect kids, don't you? That's why I don't know, 1 million dead, thousands dead from gun massacres, 1 million dead from COVID. And it never stops. So here, as I was saying, the Texas officials, the teacher did not leave the door propped open. So that was another lie. So the latest account came Tuesday, a week after the gunman slaughtered 19 children, blah, blah. We know. The status of the door is particularly notable because it addresses how the gunman made it inside, despite security measures. On Friday, Stephen McCraw seemed to suggest that an employee error played a critical role, and says that the unnamed teacher had previously propped open a door to used as an access point by the gunman. It wasn't, is what he said. It wasn't supposed to be propped open. It wasn't supposed to. Oh, yes, it's everybody's fault. It's not the guns, though. We live in a very sick country, and I have to ask, guys, how much longer? Is it ever going to end? I don't know. I have to tell you, man, if I was 20 years younger, I would get out of here. Especially if I had children. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I just can't believe that it never stops. And and they keep asking. Now, we were reading the article about what laws changed in other countries after their mass shootings. Plural, let me say. Singular, not plural. And what is neglected in these assessments is the fact that we have money in politics. We know that studies show, the Princeton study, I can't talk, says, we remember that, I don't know, it was a couple of years ago, the Princeton Review study. The wants and needs of working people have a statistically insignificant effect on government policy. So, yeah, why would it matter? Why would what we want matter? It does. So 90% of Americans, easy, right, want background checks on gun purchases. That's a gimme. That's an easy win for these filthy dirtbag Republicans to say that they accomplished something on gun measures. You know, they're saving the little kids, which they're not, but they don't do it. Why? Because it doesn't matter. The people don't matter. They don't factor in. If they factored in, if they gave a shit about their constituents, they only give a shit about inciting them and triggering them to violence and making sure that they're angry and upset, and they are turning their anger on people who are actually trying to do something about it. Not on the people where it belongs, which is really, it's on them. And it's on their benefactors, on their paymasters. But even Joe Biden won't say that money in politics is the root of all evil. He won't. Nancy Pelosi won't say it. So we will continue to get, there will be another mass shooting. You can bank on that. Unlike any of Trump's failed businesses, you can take that one to the bank. There will be more death in this country, and there will be more excuses. But there won't be any action. And I'll still be sitting here screaming into the microphone, asking, for Democrats to please just become a patron. No, I'm only kidding. Please take these talking points and fight. Fight like you're on the right side of history, because you are. I mean, not in regard to money in politics, but there are some Democrats, and we are becoming more, because more and more Democrats, not any Republicans, are not taking corporate money. That's the way it is. Where they have to, swim in this filthy pool, poisoned by money, but they're not beholden to the big moneyed interests. So that's a step in the right direction. But, you know, one of the big annoyances that we've played on the show is Nancy Pelosi saying how, when she was on Jimmy Kimmel, saying the For the People agenda, reduce the number. Wait, hold on. This fucking ad is playing in my. Of course, it's Fox. The Fox website, of course, and ad starts blaring because, you know, money, money, money. But, you know, Nancy Pelosi, when she was on Jimmy Kimmel, saying how the For the People agenda was reduce the influence of dark money, reduce it. And everybody, like, applauds. Reduce it. Just reduce it, you know. Don't get rid of it because, you know, we're making it rain up in this bitch. Don't reduce, you know, just reduce. Because it's a little unseemly, you know? You don't want to get rid of it entirely because why else are we here? Who's gonna stock my freezer with all those $15 a pint ice creams that I cannot live without, and my two $20,000 side-by-side refrigerators and freezers? You know, we're making it rain here. No, not that. And then we're gonna make some prayers. We're gonna make them. Making prayers and thoughts up in this bitch. Even Mitch McConnell gets in on the action. I mean, the balls of him to get up there. May, like our Lord and Savior says, may everybody wipe the fucking tears from your eyes and be comforted. Yeah, bullshit. You think those parents will ever be able to wipe the tears from their eyes? I can't even imagine. And I do, believe me, I've been in grief and I've been in the depths of despair in my life. And I know what that feels like. And it sucks. But I cannot imagine losing a child and waking up. And that's what I've been thinking about it. Because I'm not a sociopath like these fuckers. Unfortunately. Maybe I should have been a sociopath. Maybe in my next life. I'll have an easier time as a sociopath. Not giving a shit. Because when I wake up, I think about these parents. Especially in the morning. Because how do you wake up? You know, because there's that 1 minute. If you've ever had grief. Crushing grief. Where you wake up and you almost forget for that 1 minute. And then it comes back and you're like, oh yeah, this is real. I can't imagine. Uh-oh. Here comes the producer. I knew it. All right, at least it's the end of the show. Sit down, you pain in my ass. I'm sorry, I didn't put him in the bedroom. All right, asshole, stop. Jesus Christ. It's the producer. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know I lost I told you, my mother died. And then exactly 3 months to the day later, my father died. And then 3 months later, my cat, Tara Jr. the First, died. And that was in the year 2010, and it was a horrible year. And I remember, I don't even know when I think about it, how I got through that year. Because I remember just incredible, horrible grief. And not feeling like I could get through it. And I can't imagine losing a child. Especially so senselessly. You know, my parents died and they were old. You know what I mean? It was the course of their life. But a child? and it didn't have to happen. And then knowing it's going to happen again, and that nobody cares. That these people just don't care. That they've been sent to legislate. That's their job, to make this country, to work for the general welfare, so we can have lives that shit happens, of course, but not this again. Not a goddamn again. I don't understand. And that how they get on Fox News and then they feign this outrage while they're just sitting there. They're biding their time. Do you think that when Ted Cruz was informed that 19 children were dead and 2 teachers were dead, what do you think his first thought was? Do you think, oh my God, I have to do so, never again, those poor parents? No, he was like, fuck, time to cover my ass again. Because he knows better. And instead, the Republicans, it never stops. When you go on Twitter right now, you'll see a whole bunch of Republicans, all of them. Well, every single one of them, there'll be some stupid statement about their freedoms. Here's this Kevin Sorbo asshole. He's not a legislator, of course. Look at this. Here, right at the top, pinned. He pinned this tweet. He tweeted it out in 2020, but he pinned it. Raise your hand if you're more concerned about losing your constitutional rights than you are about COVID. Well, raise your hand, you fucking sociopath, if you are more concerned about losing your child at school. They don't even give a shit, you see, than you are about COVID. He doesn't give a shit that 1 million are dead. Raise your hand if you are more concerned about losing your constitutional rights than you are about COVID. Well, who cares if 1 million are dead? It ain't you, right, Kevin? Who cares? Your children ain't in school. You didn't have to mourn over a tiny coffin. A closed coffin, too, by the way, Kevin, you piece of shit. Oh, here's another one. I don't need the administration that armed the Taliban lecturing me on gun safety. Fuck you, Kevin. First of all, the lies just never stop. Are you talking about Reagan, who armed the Taliban, calling them akin to the founding fathers? Or Trump, who wanted to invite the fuckers to Camp David on September 11th? You piece of shit. Lecturing me on gun safety. I want these people in history's trash pile as fast as they can go. As fast as they can be stomped down in there. Legally and peacefully. Oh, today, he writes, we remember those who gave their lives so we may have the freedoms we do today. It must have been Memorial Day. Well, I guess you can you can add those 19 children and the 20 from Sandy Hook. And how about all the children who died of COVID that you don't give a shit about either? God help us. God help this sick country endure and overcome these right-wing monsters. My name is Tara Devlin. Ugh. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, unapologetic liberal talk. We stick together, we win. I'll see you soon. All right. Jesus, God help us. All right. Listen, I can't hang out because everything sucks. And no, I have to get up early and get my ass to West Virginia. Who knows if I'll make it home? Who knows? You never know. But I mean, me in West Virginia? That's an iffy. That's a. I don't know. That's a weird kind of thing. Yeah, I know. Richard W. Everyone knows we should be two countries. I agree. Enough. I'm sick of it. Everybody can come. Come here. Come to normal land. You can, and Kevin Sorbo and Twitler and all the other assholes, they could all jerk off and praise Putin and whatever, and pray to Jesus for their health care, whatever. All right, guys. Thanks so much again. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, Richard W. and Mark C. and Jim and Matt M. and Robin M. Thank you guys for your super chats tonight and all the patronage. Thank you guys for your support at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And like I said, we will not have a show this Friday because of the Hornin'. And I'll come back with a bunch of stories, and hopefully I'll come back and I'll give you the report when we're back. All right, my friend. I gotta go because, like I said, I got to get up early. Yes, be careful with those homophobic, racist hillbillies in West Virginia. That's what I'm afraid of. So, we'll see. All right. I'm going to just pop off now. Again, I will see you, like I said. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out. Tell your friends. That's your assignment as you're off. Okay? As you're off on Friday. Alrighty. You're off on Friday, but your homework is to tell 2 friends to join our chat room next time we have a show. And hang out. And, here comes the producer. He's being an ass. What are you screaming at? What's the matter, honey? All right. I will see you. I got to deal with this now. You hear him? I'll see you very soon.